Yeah, what is up, guys? Now I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, but we're not going to talk about that today. Today, we are starting a new what if, and it is one that it was interesting because I always thought about it, but I never really thought to actually put into action. And that is, what if the humans became androids? Now, when I have this happening is after the Cell arc. So after the Cell battle, Cell's dead, Goku dies, and now all that's left is pretty much everybody else that didn't die from the Cell arc. So with Goku choosing to stay dead, an idea would kind of spark off within the humans, especially after seeing Krillin and especially after seeing Android 18, to stop relying on Goku. See, because throughout the pretty much after Dragon Ball, the humans have always kind of felt inferior to Goku due to his Saiyan biology, and they now that he's dead, they feel that they need to step up more to protect their own planet, as opposed to relying on pretty much alien species to do it for them. After seeing how strong the androids gotten, who were presumably just ordinary humans before turning to androids, Krillin would have an idea to turn into androids themselves to give them a better power boost. However, he wouldn't run by this just yet, and he would wait until everybody pretty much went off their own ways through the lookout. And eventually he would call over Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu to propose the idea of asking Bulma for them to turn them into humans. So Krillin calls over Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu to the side, and he has a heart-to-heart with them. They talk about how, throughout Goku's entire journey, they were always rivals at one point, and how he saw overtaking them. And, that would bring up, kind of bitter memories, especially for Tien, somebody who takes pride in his martial arts, and always seeking to try to catch up to Goku. So Krillin, as he's talking with them with his heart-to-heart, would propose the idea of them asking Bulma to turn them into androids, and he would reason that this way they would be able to gain a lot more power more efficiently, and proof of this would be in how strong Android 17 and 18 have gotten over the time that Dr. Gero had turned them into androids. At first, the humans would be kind of resistant to it, especially Tien. However, I feel like Tien is a very practical and tactical fighter and character in general, and he would see that the only realistic way to gain new bounds of strength would be to turn into an android. So, however, neither Yamcha or Chaozu would go along with it, and these are for two different reasons. The reason why Yamcha wouldn't go along with it is because he made it pretty clear in the Buu arc that he's pretty much done with fighting. After being outmatched by everybody and seeing just how ridiculously powerful all the new threats have become, Yamcha has decided to retire from fighting altogether, and he now spends his time doing other stuff like playing baseball, getting chicks, stuff like that. And as for Chaozu, Chaozu has been disinterested in fighting since fighting Nappa. The same as Yamcha in the sense that he realizes it's too weak. However, he still spends his time accompanying Tien. Their friendship dynamic is not gonna change. However, Chaozu is most likely not gonna be participating in battles anymore. And Tien completely understands why, and there's no animosity about Chaozu's decision. With Krillin going to Bulma about the idea, she would be kind of skeptical about it at first, but understanding where Krillin's coming from and his feelings, she would ultimately agree to helping them out any way that she can. Now, we've seen with Android 16 that she was able to reverse engineer Red Ribbon technology in order to figure out how to help repair him. We also see with the blueprints that she gets from Dr. Gero's lab that she was able to figure out how Android 17 and 18 operated. So given these two things, given the fact that Bulma herself was a genius and she would have the aid of her father, I would give her no more than, let's say, a year to figure out a way to reciprocate the same process that Dr. Gero used to turn the humans into androids. Now I go with a year not just because of how hard this process would be overall, but you also have to keep in mind that Bulma is still a mom in our timeline, so she also has to deal with her family obligations as well as Vegeta. So all these things would kind of take up her time a little bit, which is why I give her about a year, just to also put some respect on Dr. Gero's name for the brilliant scientist that he was as well. And one more thing I want to preface in this video is I am going to be showing the power levels for the characters as they go on, and the source I'm going to be going by is Vegito1089 on YouTube. So if you haven't seen his videos, you check them out. And those are the power levels I'm going to be using. That's going to be the power levels that I use as my base for how I'm going to power scale the rest of the characters in the series. So with that being said, I have Tien at a 3.2 million and Krillin at a 2 million. And I have him at that strength just due to the fact that they would have been training for that 1 year to get ready for the android body. I'm talking intense training. Also coupled with the fact of the training that they did overall for the 3 years preparing for the androids as well. Some people like to downplay how much gains they got from said training. However, I think when you also take into account the fact that they pretty much kept up with Goku's previous forms up until Super Saiyan was introduced, I don't see why they wouldn't be around the same strength as a base Goku on planet Namek, which is what I have him on right now. When Bulma is done turning the Krillin and Tien into androids, nothing about their actual physical appearance would be different, because when it comes to Android 17 and 18, they still look like fully complete humans. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell they were androids unless given prior knowledge of said fact. So with their new mechanical bodies, Krillin and Tien would spend the next 7 years training. Tien more so than Krillin. They would spend time to train together, but Krillin would still have his own life outside of fighting. He would still marry 18. In fact, with the new additional power and being able to relate to her more, since he's also an android now, he might be able to be more confident in trying to woo her in a relationship. So their relationship could blossom a quicker than it did in the anime, even though it's kind of unclear when exactly that happened. As for Tien, he would spend most of his time training or hanging out with Chaozu. And when it comes to power differences, their power would probably be comparable to that of Android 17 and 18 in the sense that, and I'm talking in relation to each other. So I feel like Tien would be stronger than Krillin, but just by a little bit, just due to more training. But due to the fact that Guru did unlock Krillin's potential, it always makes Krillin gaining more power a lot easier for him than it is for Tien. But I think due to Tien's training more, it would also kind of nullify that and keep him over the edge on Krillin as well. But if I were to compare them to the rest of the cast, by the time the Blue Saga comes around, I would probably put Tien and Krillin somewhere around the ballpark of a Super Saiyan Goku. Not Super Saiyan 2, but simply a Super Saiyan Goku who is still just ridiculously strong in his own right. And by the time the Goku returns back for the 7 days, Tien and Chaozu would probably also make an appearance at the World Tournament to get a chance to fight Goku and test out their power. Well, just Tien anyway. So now we move on to the World Tournament. And now that Goku and the other Saiyans are back, the thing that to also keep in mind is that nobody really knows about the Situ transformation that Krillin and Tien have gone through, besides Android 18, Bulma, and probably Vegeta as well, considering Bulma would have been working on it in his presence. So it would be of a great shock to everybody else to see how strong Krillin and Tien have become. Goku would probably be the most excited to fight version of his human friends that are actually considerably stronger, and actually relative to him in some capacity. Uh, for the most parts, I pretty much have most of the fights going in the same order. Krillin beats Pintar. Vidal gets destroyed by Popovich, because we're keeping everything else constant when it comes to Gohan's relationships and everything that happened prior to the World Tournament, because that doesn't really directly involve Gohan, Krillin, and Tien. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that we had to get rid of some of the fighters. So I'm gonna get rid of the black guy, I forgot his name, and the guy that looked like Android 18. I'm gonna get rid of those two to replace them with Tien and Chaozu. But honestly, the fighting order really doesn't matter, because once Gohan comes up, Yamu and Spopovich will do what they do in the original timeline and steal Gohan's energy. And with that, they will make off their way to Babidi's ship. However, the key difference is this time, Tien and a powered up Krillin will accompany Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Supreme Kai on their way to figure out what Babidi is trying to do with Gohan's energy. Now, this is where I'm going to leave off in part 1, and in part 2 we will head down the slippery slope of the Buu arc and see what happens.